Tuesday, November 16th, 2021 meeting of the Carlynton School District Board of Directors is called to order. Principal Burleson, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Director O'Brien? Here. Director Pushkar? Here. Director Cicero? Here. Director Zaletsky? Here. Director Frank?
Here.
Director Apple?
Here.
Director Honchar?
He's not able to be here tonight.
Director Simsek? Here. Director Schreiber?
Here. At the beginning of each meeting, we invite the public to comment on any items that are on our agenda for this evening. So is there anybody that would like to speak or ask a question about an agenda item tonight? Lisa. All right. Ms. Smith, you want to introduce yourself?
It's okay.
Yep.
You know me.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I'm usually a little more prepared than this. I just wanted to ask about the contract, because I looked for it, but I couldn't find whether it was in there or out of there. Is checkerboarding removed from this contract?
It has been, yes.
Okay. The next question was, I'm not sure if this has to do with contract. We were told, not even last year, but the year before, that eventually we were going to get something written into the position of gate, so that there were actual qualifications, prerequisites for whoever was going to be the gate teacher. And I didn't know if we had to get that done for a new contract, or if that could be added in any time, and if it needs to be done during contract negotiations, had it been done?
It does not need to be done during contract negotiation. What does need to happen is, in regard to job descriptions, the job descriptions need to be rewritten and approved so that the individual serving in that capacity would meet those requirements. And I believe the gate position, the gifted position that we have in place now, I believe we did make some changes to the job description, I want to say in March or April of 2020.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the public on items on the agenda for tonight? If not, then we'll move on. There is a time at the end if anyone has questions about non-agenda items. We'll get those at the end of the meeting. Moving on to section 2 of our agenda, minutes of previous meetings. I'll entertain a motion to approve, number 1, the minutes of the November 9th, 2021 Finance Committee meeting, and number 2, the minutes of the October 19th voting meeting as submitted. Do I have a motion for those 2 items?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I'll report that we had an executive session prior to this meeting where we discussed personnel matters, potential litigation, and general informational matters. And I'll turn to Dr. Crater for a superintendent report.
Thank you, Director Schreiber. We have several reports tonight. We have an athletics report, we have an enrollment report, and we also have a report from our elementary principals as well. We'll start with our athletic reports from Mr. Milsom.
Alrighty, so we just finished up the fall sports season. Winter is set to start this Friday, so not much downtime. I'm just going to run through the different sports, just touch briefly on those. Cross country, we just finished up October 28th at Whitfield Finals. The girls had a great showing, very young team, so that's good for the future. The boys' numbers were down this year, so that's one of the areas we look to hopefully get some more boys out for the cross-country program. Football, middle school, we actually finished the season with 16 players at the beginning of the year. This summer, we didn't know if we were going to be able to have a middle school football team or not, but finishing with 16 showed promise. They actually won a few games as well. The varsity team finished 2-7 with 5 seniors on the team. We'll be dropping from AA to single A next cycle, and I'll get into that whenever I finish up here. Golf, this was the first year we had a golf program with Bishop Canavan. As you know, we co-op with them in wrestling, swimming, tennis, track, track. And so this was the first year where we had some parents that were interested in having some of their children golf. So we reached out to Bishop Canavan, and they were obviously on board with that. We ended up, we had the #1 golfer on the team, Max Samanji, did very well. Ended up winning the section championship for the first time in Canavan's history, which was great to be a part of that. Again, they've obviously been a great asset to us with track and wrestling and swimming as well. So it was, we had actually had 4 boys that participated on this team, so it was good for them to get out there. Soccer, we had a new coach for the middle school season. We had low numbers at the start of the season, but then ended up, finishing with a decent amount. It was the coach's first year, and we had a co-ed team, which a lot of small districts have co-ed teams now. So it was good to see them to get out there and compete. The girls was another team that had low numbers in the summer. We were worried about this. We actually had some parents come to me at the scrimmage and wanted to know what their options were if we didn't have enough girls to complete the season. We did a few games have to play down. We finished the season this year with 13 girls, which, moving forward with 5 seniors on the team, we're going to try to get out there and recruit some more girls. But we know that we have a lot of 6th and 7th grade girls coming up, so we want to make sure that we can keep this program alive and try to get out there and recruit some athletes. We did end up, we beat Carrick the last game of the year, the girls did, which was a nice way to finish the season. Our boys just missed out on a playoff spot for the first time in a number of years. Unfortunately, we ran into some good small private schools, which hopefully can change. We had 2 girls named all section, and we also had 2 boys soccer players that were named all section. Girls tennis, again, co-op with Bishop Canavan. We just missed out on the playoffs. We're in a section with Quaker Valley, Sewickley Academy, and schools like that. So we were the first team out of the playoffs. So that program is definitely heading in the right direction, which is good to see. And many positive remarks from Canavan parents as well as our parents. And volleyball, again, we had a first-year coach. We were the first team out of the playoffs this year. The first, second, and third place teams in our section were all 3 PIAA representatives. So the top 3 teams from our section all advanced to the state playoffs. They were 3 of the last 4 teams left in the WPIAL playoffs. They, as well, will be dropping to single A for the next cycle, which is something that we are definitely looking forward to. We were in A for a number of years and did very well. So we're looking forward to that. And we had 1 player named all section. She happened to be a freshman, so that's good. That's moving forward, that's good. Going back to the enrollment, so every 2 years we submit our enrollment, boys and girls in grades 9, 10, and 11. And we submit the numbers to the PIAA. They come back with parameters, what they do for football, for basketball. Those sports that have 6 classifications, they just divide it into 6, and that's the parameters. Wherever your numbers fall, they fall. We've been, with football and girls volleyball, we've been towards the bottom the last couple cycles. This time we submitted our numbers. They came back to us with what classifications we were in. However, the WPIAL has been telling us for years that any VOTEC students that step foot in your building, you must count them as an enrolled student. So we have enrolled, homeschool, charter school, cyber school, VOTEC school. There's many categories. Well, there was a few of us that reached out to the state because we had some questions as far as the vocational students. Because we know there's some schools down south in Washington County that don't count their vocational students as full-time students. we reached out, the PIAA reached back out to us as well as the director of the WIPIO, and they said, any student that steps foot in your building and attends a vocational school, whether it's 1 period, 4 periods, 7 periods, you put them in the vocational section, you only count 1/10 of a student. So we had until Monday, till yesterday, to reach out to the PIAA and resubmit our numbers. So what I did was we have 82 kids that go to Parkway, which for a school our size, that's a tremendous drop in classification. Reached back out to them, they said they'll take care of it. So knowing the parameters and knowing the numbers that we submitted, we will drop down to baseball, softball, football, and girls volleyball. We will drop from AA to single A, which will help tremendously, but you also run into some small private schools as well along the way. So we're just waiting to hear back from the state on that. But I know even before that, I know football and volleyball were going to drop to single A. So this should just affect baseball and softball.
Is that for next year?
Starting next year. So we do it every 2 years. This
January 2020 or fall of 2020?
it will be fall of 2020. So when we finish this winter and this spring, then starting next fall will be the new cycle. We do it every 2 years. And then they have a competition formula which they use for the private schools. So they take in their transfers and their success. And so there's a formula which then bumps them up. So a school such as Bishop Canavan, a lot of success in boys basketball, their single A enrollment, they will be playing AAA next cycle because of, obviously they have transfers and they have success. So, which will be good for those sports.
So this doesn't affect the 4 classification sports?
It affects, it's for every sport.
Are we already A in soccer?
We're already A in soccer, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're stuck with the private schools in soccer?
Yeah, we are, and unfortunately our girls soccer team is the only public school in our section, which, I feel is very unfair. And I'm in the process of actually drafting a letter to the WPIL to try to, maybe even out the single A section. Our boys soccer team ran into that this year. We had Eden finished third in our boys soccer section, and they're still playing. They're in the state playoffs. So the top 3 teams in our section are still alive. So it's unfortunate, small public schools, when you run into the private schools.
It'd be nice if they'd stick them in all one section.
They did, but unfortunately they put us with them. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I had an answer for that, but yeah, I'm in the process of drafting a letter to them just to. I know I'm on the WPIL basketball committee, and I know that we try to do it geographically, but you also have to look at you can't put all the public schools and all the private schools. You would like to, but we try to do it geographically.
Any idea how many Parkway students also participate in sports?
I know in the fall, because they have a bus that comes back from Parkway, I want to say there were maybe 6.
6 out of 80.
6, yeah, so maybe a little less than 10%. So whenever they came back to us with that formula, it kind of made sense. Yeah, so we had, and they were all, I want to say they were all football players too.
Okay.
That came back, yeah. So that drops our numbers tremendously whenever we have to don't count, we have 10%.
Right, thanks.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Milsom, and I'd like to commend Mr. Milsom for his hard work, dedication, commitment to our student athletes. I think you do an outstanding job in the partway through the summer this year. One thing that Mr. Milsom came to me with is the number of female students who were coming out for the soccer program, and reported that it's very possible we didn't have a girls soccer program. But I think that it's a reflection of his commitment to our kids, that he recognizes that once we cancel a program for a season, it's very difficult to get back into the rotation. So a big thank you to advocate on behalf of our female athletes, especially in the area of soccer, to help them compete.
And our athletics program, I think, teaches kids, it teaches them hard work, dedication, teamwork, and a lot of positive skills that can transcend into post-graduation types of things. And I think you're a true leader in that field, so I thank you for everything you do.
And a shout out for girls soccer, because this is part of that Carlynton commitment. Girls went out in the senior class to play soccer this year so that the senior soccer players had a season. I mean, there were girls that played who had never
Yes.
played soccer before,
Exactly,
who
yes.
came back to a team that hadn't played for 4 years, and they did it solely because we had a senior who's played soccer since she was in kindergarten, and she was not going to have a season if they didn't have enough girls. So there were seniors out there, so that's Carlynton too.
So we have a lot of students who are involved in athletics, also in our performing arts and musical programs as well, which we know the extracurriculars have a huge impact on the schoolhouse and the pride and enthusiasm that goes along with it. So, okay, next up we'll go with Mrs. Burleson and Mrs. Bachman. They have their report for elementary.
Since you started the podium, I'll continue with it.
Sorry.
Follow your lead. So thank you for having me here. I feel like it's been a long time since I've gotten to really address the board and the community, so thank you for having me. I'm going to start first, and then I'll pass it over to Lauren. But if you go to the next slide, we started our year with really our focus being the whole child and making sure that we address a positive learning environment for the students. So knowing the teachers have the academics pretty much set in stone, we always want to go back to our school-wide PBIS model, which starts with be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. That is something we created back in 2017, a couple years after I started. And it's always important to go back into looking at your positive expectations. Because if I can set a foundation for you, you're thinking about going into a school and asking students different expectations. So you ask a kindergarten expectation, they're saying, be nice, pick up the toys. You ask a sixth grader, they're like, don't gossip, don't fight. So the rules are all over the place. But you want to have some sort of consistency within your school, and that's where school-wide PBIS comes into play. We start a committee, and we create 3 expectations. So if you came into Carlynton Elementary and asked a kindergartner, or a 6th grader, or a 3rd grader, they're going to tell you the same exact 3 expectations that Carlynton has, and it's be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. And that's all over the school as well, in the cafeteria, in the hallways, everywhere that you would go. So I wanted to start. This is our well-rounded child that is going to come in already nervous from COVID, and we want to reinforce and bring back some of the things that we already did at Carlynton. So as you can see in the next slide, there's our 3 Bs, that's what we call them. And this year we were recognized as a positive behavior support participant. So you have to go through 3 years to show fidelity in the PBIS model, and then you have to complete an application, your teachers have to do surveys, and then you have to complete like a benchmark of quality. And if you rate a certain percentage, you get recognized as a participant. And we did that last year. So if you want to flip to the next one, these are some of the things that we have started and continue in our PBIS model. We do something called Pause 200, which is that picture. If you come into the main office, you'll see, looks like a big bingo board. And the Pause 200 strategically is given out to certain staff members so we can take specific data on it. And that's given to students who are going above and beyond the 3Ds. And it's a big deal. We only give out 10 a week. And they come to the office, they sign the autograph book, they get a sticker, so all day anybody can see them, hey, you got a paw. And they pick a number randomly and they put it on this bingo board. Once a line is filled, just like bingo, vertical or horizontal, we have a party with those students. And then the staff member gets recognized as well. The staff member is on that coupon. So that's one of the things we've done. Cougar Coupons is something that anybody can give out to students who are showing the 3Ds, and that's like more of a raffle, so it goes into bins in different rooms, and they get picked and they can earn lunch with me, they can earn treasure chest, different incentives that the teachers have set up. We do Students of the Month, which are posted in our newsletter, set over the speaker. We give out certificates, pictures on a bulletin board happen. And then the Josh and Gab Show is one way that we start off our year promoting anti-bullying, uniqueness, differences, celebrating that. And then again, our recognized participant, and we will be going into this year applying for Tier 1 sustaining. So it's kind of the same process of filling out an application, doing many surveys, and doing benchmark of quality. And if we can show that fidelity, we will be next recognized through the AIU as sustaining. So we're excited for that. We work pretty hard. Some partnerships I want to share for this year. The Rotary is always a great partnership, and they supply and help Carlynton so much throughout the year. They are the ones who paid for the Josh and Gab Show to come to Carlynton and Carnegie. They pay for our Junior Achievement Luncheon, which I'll talk about as well. This year we did receive the Carlynton and Ingram Rotary District Grant, and we're going to receive, I think, about 30 touchscreen Chromebooks that will help our little ones who are used to more of the iPad touching instead of the Chromebooks. But that will be there for our students to share. And distribution of dictionaries are going to happen this month. So I think that's going to happen through Zoom, but we're pretty excited. A former teacher at Carlynton, Jim Nagorski, is the president. So we work very closely with him to supply these dictionaries and then to do a little presentation of what the Rotary is, and then the presentation that they have to follow. We also partner with Amazon. Hour of Code this year is the week of December 6th, so we're very excited to bring Amazon back in person. And Amazon brings usually about 8 people from their coding area of Amazon, and they work with our students in a few different things. They do hourofcode.com with dance parties, so they're coding like student or cartoons dancing. Scratch.mit.org, and they're creating Imagine a World. So it's different animals or globes flying that they can code that. And then Scratch Talk, where there's animals that they can make talk. So it's pretty exciting. And then Junior Achievement is actually coming Thursday. So Junior Achievement has partnered with Robert Morris. So we'll have Robert Morris students come on Thursday, and they bring to us ideas of career and entrepreneurship. And that is what the Rotary pays for the Junior Achievement, because it's free, they volunteer. So then the Rotary will supply the lunch. So it's a pretty exciting partnership. If we flip to safety, just to touch upon this because it is during COVID times, we're looking at, we've talked to Josh and have done some internal reviews about just security systems that are happening inside and outside of the buildings. Chief Sumter is there every day doing daily walkthroughs and checking in with me. We have teachers, staff, and aides on duty every morning, at lunch, at recess, and at dismissal. And we've had presentations from the Carlynton and County Police Department on cyber safety and digital citizenship. To continue with the needs in our school, we are supporting mental health in Carlynton. And here are some ways that we are doing it. We have Wesley, school-based therapist that comes a day and a half each week. And she has been consistent for the past 3 years, so it's very nice the students have formed relationships with her. We have Wesley outpatient. She comes once a week, and it's usually appointments. We have a psychologist that we do share with the high school. We have a counselor that we share with Carnegie. We do have a mindfulness room. It's not quite a chill room, but it's something that we've created with soft animals, some stress toys, some fidget toys, some plush toys, things like that. Right now it's not available because of our HVAC is taken over, but it will be soon. And we do have sensory notes on each of the floors, meaning we have trampolines, we have soft seating, we have different types of yoga posters or things like that that they can participate in these areas. And then we also have the SAT team that works closely with HSAO to help us and to help the families. Just some things we've done this year. We've had fundraisers to help support local families, especially one of our local families whose daughter was diagnosed with leukemia, so we've done different fundraisers for her. We're also going to have our giving tree this year for also local families in need. So that will, I think that flyer actually went home today. We are also doing pajama drive, which will help children who are in need of pajamas. And then Crafton, if you took part of the Halloween driving tour, that was new this year. Crafton Elementary took part of that. We got to light our windows and do a spooky, fun, fictional story. And the teachers had a great time decorating windows and participating in that. So we just partnered with the Recreation Borough Committee. Some upcoming events for Crafton, report cards went home today. Junior Achievement is on Thursday. We have a band concert coming up on the 19th. We had our chorus concert yesterday. It was really cold, but they got through it because it's all outside. Fourth grade chorus, November 23rd. There's no school Thursday, Friday, Monday. Our vote is December 6th, and then that's our holiday break. And I think that's it. I don't know if you want to just go on to Carnegie or if there's specific Crafton questions. Awesome. Okay.
So I will mirror what Mrs. Burleson said about thank you. It's been quite some time before we've been able to speak, and it's great to tell you about all the great things that are happening at the elementary school. So I felt like it was very important to just really give you an idea of what type of mindfulness culture we are trying to adopt at Carnegie. Our saying for the year is you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. So we know that there's going to be bumps in the roads. How are we going to be able to deal with those bumps, move forward from those as a whole school community? Students, staff, myself, support staff, custodians, everyone. I also wanted to outline some of the partnerships that we have at Carnegie Elementary. We also do partner with the Carnegie Color Rotary. They supply us with shoe vouchers, so we get 60 shoe vouchers where students that are in need of shoes can go to Dunham Sporting Goods and take that voucher to get themselves a new pair of shoes. We also work with the Rotary. They sponsor our Early Act Club, which I'll outline a little bit more in the presentation. Education Partnership is also one of our partnerships that we have been working with throughout the duration of my principalship here at Carnegie. We do school supplies in the spring, as well as teacher supply shopping in the fall, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we go through the presentation. Something new this year with partnerships is our Literacy Pittsburgh and Hello Neighbor, who are both providing student tutoring as well as adult ESL tutoring. And then Awaken Pittsburgh is our newest partnership where we are working with our grant on professional development for the current school year. So the first thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was Early Act Club. And again, as I said, the Rotary is wonderful enough to sponsor our chapter of Early Act Club. Mary Campbell, one of our second grade teachers at Carnegie, is the sponsor for that. And they do a lot of service organization projects throughout the building. Recycling, as you can see in our wonderful picture. They work on the school garden. They do multiple food collection drives. And they do the Happy You Are Here card campaign, which is a card campaign for our ESL students and some other refugees around the Carnegie area that are coming into the community, as well as raise funds for what is called the Water Project, which is a project in Haiti that is helping to help clean their water. So Mary Campbell does a wonderful job with partnership with the Rotary to do service learning projects with the Early Act Club. One of our educational partnerships is through the Education Partnership with McKnight Elementary in the North Allegheny School District. They have sponsored us or adopted a school for us 5 years now since I've been the principal here at Carnegie Elementary School. They do hat drives, they do fundraisers, and then in the spring they'll have an assembly where every student at Carnegie Elementary will receive a bag of school supplies that we would need to finish out the school year. It's really great that they do it in the spring because it's that jump with our last marking period to make sure that we are finishing out the year with all of the school supplies that we need. In addition to partnering with McKnight, having school supplies for the students, every summer, our teachers at Carnegie Elementary have the opportunity to sign up to go to the Education Partnership and do what they call a shopping day, where they can get supplies for their classroom. And they always have like some great, wonderful, unique things that you can get for a classroom that you typically wouldn't have. I know that there was one teacher 1 year prior to me coming here that got a couch that is in her classroom that she's able to use for alternative seating and things like that. So the Education Partnership is a wonderful organization that has been helping us get school supplies into the hands of the students at Carnegie for several years now. I'm really excited to talk about this next partnership that we are right smack dab in the middle of working with and providing some really great things for not only the students of Carnegie, but now even our families of Carnegie. Hello Neighbor is an organization that works to help tutoring for our ESL students. Right now, that's really at a secondary level with the exception of 6th grade. So they do offer opportunities for our 6th grade students to have some after-school tutoring programs. We are hoping that eventually our partnership with Hello Neighbor will work its way down to some of our smaller students and even our primary students so that we can get them some after-school tutoring and some help and support during their transition into learning English. And Literacy Pittsburgh, we have partnered with them, and I have to say they are the best organization to work with. And I have to tell you that Mr. Don Alexander, another 2nd grade teacher at Carnegie Elementary School, is amazing. The extra effort that he does to help to make this program, this evening program, a success is amazing. So Literacy Pittsburgh offers all ESL classes to our families at Carnegie on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. We do 2 sessions. We do a 6:30 session, and then we do a 6:30, 7:30 session, 7:30 to 8:30 session. Mr. Alexander has organized, with the help of Miss Eddy and our gifted program and National Honor Society program for students to come down and help support our families with their smaller children while they're having their classes. So we're able to have our high school students come down and sit and work and with our younger community members that are prior to school age while their parents are working with the Literacy Pittsburgh tutoring on adult ESL classes. So it's amazing. I always try to stay at least one night to see at least one session. I alternate the sessions, and it's amazing to see how we are getting more and more families each week. They're actually talking about adding another session, and even trying to help with some resume building and trying to really get our families and communities out there to help them, not only further their language skills, but also their job opportunity skills as well. So it's just amazing. And Don just does a great job, and I couldn't have done it without him, so I don't want to not give him the value that he needs. So he's great, and he does a great job with it. Awaken Pittsburgh is facilitating our professional development at Carnegie Elementary this year, and we are doing some mindfulness training with our teachers. One of our biggest things pushed last when we opened the chill room was part of that component is for our behavior specialists to go into our Unified Arts class. The PAWS class, it mirrors the PBIS model that Marcia talked about, and to do mindfulness lessons with our students. Being able to give them strategies and ways to cope with their anxiety, just small, sessions for them to really come back, especially after the pandemic, coming back with the masks. It really is difficult for adults. You can only imagine how difficult it can be for an elementary student. So that was really, our big push when we opened the chill room, was to get these activities into the hands of the students so that they can cope with any anxiety they may have. So the next step or the next progression was to make sure that our teachers, they're doing it outside of just that chill room, just outside of the mindfulness curriculum, that they're doing it across the board. They're like in every environment within the building. So the next step is to really teach our teachers to be able to not only produce mindfulness for themselves, but to also be able to present that to the students. We all use the same verbiage throughout the classroom. We all know we're all learning the same activities, and we're embracing that and adopting that in our everyday operations. My biggest goal for this year was to adopt a mindfulness environment within the building, and then the teacher's goal was to all do that within their classroom. So they all produced SMART goals based on mindfulness so that we can all create a culture that is embracing of this new environment that we are trying to produce within the building. Of course, we want to talk about our Allegheny Health Network CHILL project and the great things that we are doing with the CHILL project. This slide right here gives you a little bit about what the background is of the CHILL project. It is providing that safe space for students to relax and manage their stress. If they're having a bad day or they need time to group or get in touch with their emotions, anxieties, they're able to visit the CHILL room and get themselves back to center. Again, we talked about the mindfulness and stress groups, those skill groups, K-6, as well as the autistic support class, go into the CHILL room on a rotating basis and work in those mindfulness sessions and groups. And then the last time that we talked, I know that we talked a little bit about like what is some of the, the concrete evidence or data that the CHILL room is really doing what we wanted to do. So as of November 4th, we have actually had 1,342 students drop into the CHILL room. We've had 158 teacher/student consultations. So we do give an opportunity for our teachers before students enter the building to be able to go down to the CHILL room, talk as a group, talk with our behavior specialist, Miss Ellie. Miss Ellie Lohman is also a fantastic resource that we have. We have had 2 CHILL room faculty workshops with 76 attendees. We've had 5 parent meetings with 24 attendees, and our open house produced more than 100 plus visitors within our CHILL room as they work. So I really do think that the CHILL room is just an outstanding and fantastic addition to Carnegie Elementary. You can see the 2 pictures that we have. The CHILL room is definitely a woodsy campfire atmosphere. We have the tent that's outside of the building, as well as the butterfly tree, and the butterfly tree has students' work and thoughts within the tree. So it's definitely something that I would be excited for everybody to come and see. If we go to the next slide, we also have some additional pictures. You can see within the room we have some alternative seating, more classroom student work, the fireplace nook area, and of course the cabin. So the cabin is actually built within the classroom, and it's functional within its own small space. So when you go into the cabin, there's probably room for about 5 intermediate elementary students, maybe 8 of the little guys. You probably could get 8 kindergarten kids in there, but once we're done social distancing, of course. And she's able to do small groups in there. Students are able to relax. You can see by the lighting. One picture that you can never really do justice are the clouds. With the help of Mr. McDade and his maintenance, we were able to hang floating lit clouds from the ceiling. They're my favorite part of the room. I know that everybody gravitates toward the cabin, but I actually really enjoy the alternative lighting in the classroom. It's definitely a calming atmosphere. It's definitely something that you can feel your body very much begin to relax as soon as you enter the building. And I would love to take anybody on a tour of the room. It's definitely a great place to be. And I couldn't be happier with the staff embracing our new culture and our new environment. And then the last thing that I did want to mention was, of course, our something special for the month of November, which is Movember. You can see that we have had several of our teachers volunteer to grow out their mustache as a fundraiser. We get to take their picture every day. The students get to vote on which mustache they like the best. And I have to say, on a daily basis, the mustache will change because they definitely have embraced the challenge. And we have a great staff. So I just wanted to give you that something special that we're doing for November. Any questions that you have specifically for Carnegie or elementary in general? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
One of the things I noticed about both of our elementary principals is when you visit both of those buildings, they're both in the classroom, they're in the cafeteria, they're in the hallways, they're working with teachers, and I think you can see the evidence of their ability to interact and collect data as they move through their buildings, put some quality programming in place, to be innovative and to think outside the box for a lot of unique and very valuable programming. So thank you both for everything that you've done at both of your schools.
Thank you.
So next thing, we'll transition to our numbers guy here. He's going to have a lot of numbers up here on the screen. It'll be Dr. Manich, just to talk a little bit about enrollment. He promised not to read every number to you. I'm going to hold him to that promise. But just a little bit about enrollment statistics.
Thank you, Dr. Kreider, and I really wish you would have put me first instead of last. I mean, I have to compete with that. I don't know if I can. But I want to talk a little bit about the enrollment statistics for the district, and since enrollment statistics are pretty much fluid, I took a snapshot date of yesterday, so these are as of yesterday. And in elementary, Carnegie Elementary, we have 377 students at the moment. What I did is I broke these down for you, and each one of you have a copy of this, so that's why I don't have to read all the statistics. But as you read them across, they are basically aligned by grade level on the left-hand column. Across the top are the 9 reportable categories for demographics for ethnicity. And down the right-hand column are your numbers by grade level. So as you're reading it through, in kindergarten, we have 50 students presently in Carnegie, 51 in first grade, 59 in second grade, 42, and so on, enrolled in that particular district. Then we flip to Crafton. Again, the same way. There's 314 students in Crafton Elementary at the time. Again, 41 in kindergarten in Crafton, 49 in first grade, 45 in second grade, and so on as we go down. And across the top, again, is the 7 reportable ethnicities that we have in each individual building. Carlynton Junior Senior High School, there is presently 596 students. Again, grade 7 through 12, 105 in grade 7, 121 in grade 8, 83 in grade 9, which is probably going to help with Mr. Milson was talking about, was that low 9th grade class, kind of helped us to get down to class A, and so on. And again, the 7 reportable state ethnicity for the particular high school. Now, in comparison, I kind of wanted to take a look at where we were over the past couple of years. And again, data is fluid. So in comparing them over the past 2 years, we've lost approximately 21 kids over the past 2 years at this moment in time. 2 weeks from now, it could be different. We can get 5, 6 kids come in. But we look like on average, we probably have a decrease of about 1.5% over the past 2 years.
And if I could pause you, are those numbers inclusive of people coming into our building or all kids that are going to charter school?
Well, these are just in the buildings.
In our building,
Okay, these are the ones that come into our buildings. Now, when I did the district enrollments, okay, so now you get a snapshot here of, what are we looking at the district level? Now you combine both buildings in kindergarten, and you're watching the trends coming all the way through. Okay, you see now at the district we have 91 kids enrolled in the Carlynton School District in kindergarten, 108 in first grade, 108 in second grade. You start to see things start to swell. We were talking about this the other day that you start getting 132 kids here, 120 kids coming into the high school shortly thereafter. We have to start looking at things of that nature as we go through, and the demographics as they go through on this particular one. So that's kind of where this particular graphic comes in and where we are by grade level throughout the district. And I believe there's one more, right? Yes. So again, when you look at the demographics, here we are by percentages of our demographics. This is kind of what you see when you get the Pennsylvania School Performance Profile. They say, what are your demographics of your district? And things of that nature there. So this is kind of where it is. And you were asking about the, the kids that aren't in our buildings. I kind of listed kind of where we are with that in here to give us the grand totals of everything. So they're kind of listed in there. So pretty much, that's my presentation for the enrollment State of the Union. If anybody has any questions?
How many are enrolled in our sponsored cyberschool?
Right now we have, we started with 18 at the beginning of the year. We had 3 kids transfer back in at the 9-week period, so I think we're down to about 15. But from what I hear, I think we might have one more coming in the very near future going to go back out. So that's kind of
Came back here from there.
Yeah, but they're coming from one of our buildings, going to go to the Cyber Academy for reasons other than COVID. It's more of an academic need for other particular reasons. If not, then thank you very much.
Dr. Manis does a lot of work with our numbers in regard to PIMS collection and data that gets transferred off to the state. A lot of our state reporting information that's extremely important for funding and a lot of record keeping in that regard, and does a real nice job at keeping track of all those numbers and making sure that things are accurate. So thanks for everything you do, Dr. Manis. Real quick report here from Superintendent's report. Just our next meeting is the reorganizational meeting. That is required to occur during the first week of December. The purpose of that meeting is to reorganize, elect president and vice president. We go through and we assign the roles and representative for committee members. The different representatives we have are for Parkway, Pathfinder, Shasta, Legislative, and also for the Carlynton Foundation. So there's a lot of additional work that each of our board members do above and beyond just the typical board meetings that we have on a regular basis. And then we'll form the committees for the upcoming school year, or the upcoming 2022 year, to be the finance, the building and grounds, and education technology. Also at the meeting, newly elected board members are formally begin their term, and at our next meeting, we will, the board will formally welcome Jessica Balagnio will be here with us. And following the reorganizational meeting, we have a regular business meeting as well, very similar to this one as well. Mr. Apple, I'd like to thank you for your years of service, 10 years of service as school board. This will be Mr. Apple's last meeting here with us as he moves forward. But for all that you've done, the amount of work that you've done, the decisions that you've made, I've always found you to be very approachable, very knowledgeable and understanding of district operations, especially in regard to finance and educational programs. And I think you're a strong advocate for students and for making quality decisions in their best interest. So for all those years of service that you've committed to us, I thank you for everything you've done. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And on the last slide here is just some upcoming events, which were covered in some of the other reports. But we do have that was not already recognized, I believe upcoming is our fall play. It's the best, worst Christmas pageant ever. That runs 7 o'clock from December 2 through 4. Those are evening performances, and they also have a matinee on Sunday, December 5th. That's at 2 p.m. Tickets and information can be found on our website.
Where? Sorry to interrupt, I kept trying to look on the website to get tickets. I couldn't find it.
I was going to try to go over that real quick. We're not exactly sure where the link is out there. It just has not been provided to us.
Provided it to me yet. They're working on it. Okay.
So we will have the link as soon as it's available.
I want to snatch up those really good
That's
seats.
right. Yeah. So they did have a question earlier this week on just some seating arrangements, those kind of things, which we went through and hashed out. So that may have delayed some things. But also, Celebration of the Arts on December 21st. It's a celebration of both music and our arts program as well. That's here at the Junior Senior High School. That's at 7 o'clock. And then there's a lot of other upcoming events as well on our website. And that's one good resource to go into and check. Those are our administrative reports for this evening.
Okay. Any board questions on any of the reports? We'll move on to the board committee reports then. Director Apple, anything you want to share regarding Parkway West?
Just real briefly, they've already begun the budgeting process for next school year, and one of the numbers that is provided to me, to all of us that are out there, is the cost per student. And that's as compared to the other CTCs in the area, like Katie and several others. Anyway, it costs $5,737 per student to educate a student at Parkway West, which is by far the lowest amount from all the CTCs in the area. And, the director, Darby Copeland, feels that, without knowing the numbers exactly, but he has a pretty good idea that that's probably the lowest in the state. If not one, if not the lowest, certainly one of the lowest. And, so I think that's another way of saying that programming out there, our students, as Mr. Nelson mentioned earlier, we have about 80 kids out there. It's an excellent value. It's an excellent programming and education, so, they're good stewards of our tax dollars. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Director Honchar is not here tonight. I don't know if there's any Pathfinder updates that you're aware of. Dr.
He did not provide me with any.
Pathfinder meets tomorrow,
Oh, you're the alternate.
so there's no update until tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Director Zaletsky, I think we heard that there's something happening with Shasta. I don't know if you're-
Finally, yes. Thursday, December 16th, a legal meeting.
Legal updates.
Legal updates. So since that's after reorganization, we'll respond, but we will have attendings in place. I'm not sure if it'll be myself or somebody else who's going to make our changes.
Hopefully we'll hear from you in January. Is that correct?
Or someone, yeah.
Cool.
Definitely. I would be pleased to serve, but if there's someone else that can serve, I think that change.
Okay, thank you. Legislative and PSBA.
I really didn't have much. I mean, I had some notes on reorganization because it seems like every year it's the first year we heard of it.
Right.
We kind of stumble our way through because it's not something that we do all the time. So, but Dr. Kreider, covered it. One thing I would add for the benefit of the public is just to let you know that, school board directors are required to do some training outside of what we learn while we're here. So just so you know, newly elected members are required to complete 5 training hours. Re-elected members are required to complete 3 training hours. Where again, it encompasses a lot of different areas. So there's always something to learn here, and we do well to maybe even go beyond the requirement of hours. So just wanted to mention that. Also, just as far as PSBA is concerned, every all directors meeting that I sit in, they really stress that it's so much to our benefit to have our legislators come and see what we do in person, and just to hear the reports from our principals here. We have so many good things going on that I think if we can arrange it and when we're ready to do it, would love to have some of these people come in and see what we're doing. And I can reach out to our contacts at PSBA if you feel like you want to have someone come in and visit your school and see the good things you're doing. I'd be happy to help facilitate that. So that's all I had for legislative. I don't have anything for foundation. I missed their last meeting. I know they were really, really happy with the first bingo. Thought it went really, really well. I missed it. I didn't get to go to it, but I hear really good things about it. So hope to get to go to it next year.
Thank you. Any other questions from any board members on committee? No? All right. Moving along, in section 4 of our agenda, we have a handful of items to approve. I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1, the additions to the list of conferences and field trips for the 2021-2022 school year, and number 2, the 2021-24 Carlynton School District Comprehensive Plan as was submitted. No motion for those 2 items. Actually, yeah. Second. Move second. All right. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 5, we have another couple of items. I'll entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 8. Number 1, the following reports is reflected in the November 2021 financial reports, which is October 2021 Treasurer's Report, the investment report, board summary report, October 21's Junior Senior High School Activities Fund report, October 2021 Athletic Fund report, and October 2021 Treasurer's Report summary. Number 2, to approve the bills for the month of October 2021 in the amount of $969,883.05. Number 3, to approve the resolution for continued membership in the Joint Purchasing Board for the 2022-23 school year, along with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit and other local school districts, which will empower the district to make bulk purchases of selected items for its use. It's further recommended that the appropriate Carlynton School District officials be authorized to sign the joint purchasing agreement, and that Keith Bealby be named said representative to the purchasing board, and the superintendent be named as the alternate. Number 4, the contractual agreement between the district and pediatric therapy for the provision of occupational or physical therapy services for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023. Number 5, the professional services agreement between the district and Wesley Family Services for individual evaluation services for the period of January 3rd, 2022 through June 9th, 2022. Number 6, the agreement between the district and Leaders in Learning for student evaluation services beginning November 15th, 2021 to the end of the 2021-22 school year. Number 7, to approve and accept a $30,000 competitive integrated employment grant to the Pennsylvania Department of Education for the 2021-22 school year in association with PATHAN, the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network. Number 8, to approve and accept the donation of sanitizing wipes and disinfecting spray provided by the Education Partnership of Pittsburgh. A motion for those 8 items.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under Section 6 Personnel, we have a couple of items. Pardon? Yeah, would you like number 1 separately? Yeah, please. Okay. So why don't we do, I guess number 1 is as in interest of a lot of folks, perhaps. So we'll entertain a motion just to approve number 1 first. The 2021 through 2026 collective bargaining unit agreement between the district and the Carlynton Federation of Teachers. So I have a motion for that one item. Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion?
I'd like to say a few things,
Please.
if I could. First, I'd like to thank Director O'Brien and Director Jude, Dr. Frank, thank you. And then Director Mendoza, who had to leave the board since she moved. It's been a long process, but really do appreciate the amount of time that folks put into this. I'd also like to thank the teachers in coming to this agreement. And it's fair to say that neither side got everything they wanted, but I really do believe that this is a fair contract for both sides, and it gives some financial stability to the district as well as certainty as far as our biggest labor contract. And, that's going to enable us to move forward and really work to make this the premier district that I think we all want it to be. The contract, it does some really important things. It provides for enhanced availability for parents to speak with teachers, to meet with teachers. It adds some flexibility in the schedule at the junior senior high school, which is going to allow students to have more options for their coursework, and also possibility for more help in core subject areas through open help periods. I'd also say that I'm grateful to the teachers for their willingness to and creativity in addressing the issues that the board brought up, and working with us to find ways to do things that like the, enhanced availability for parents to meet with teachers. I think that, as long as I've been on the board, that's something that has been consistently asked for by parents, and I know that teachers recognize the importance of parental involvement, and I really do applaud them for working with us to do that, and also some other things. So, anyway, that's. I think it's a very fair and strong agreement for the district, and I certainly will be voting yes on it, and I hope that it will as well.
Thank you, John. Any other directors have any comment or question about the motion? Nope. I'll quickly echo Joe's comments. I'll thank our team on the board that worked very hard, worked with the teachers union to make that happen. I think Joe accurately stated neither side got everything they wanted, but I think both sides felt like it was a fair agreement for both parties, and ultimately we're all here for the kids. So we appreciate their partnership, and without the teachers, we wouldn't have a district. So we're very appreciative of the partnership that we have, and I'll be joining Joe in voting yes for the contract. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Jude. Excellent work. Any other comments?
I'd be remiss to not mention the effort that the administrators, Dr. Kreider and Mr. Bealby, put into helping us to craft this agreement as well. A lot of hard work there, so thank you.
Thank you. If nothing else, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you again, everybody. Moving on to the rest of the items under Section 6, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 6.2 through 6.10. So items 2 through 10. I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1, or actually to approve number 2, the addition to the 2021-2022 athletic supplemental list as submitted. The stipend for the supplemental position holder is contingent upon completion of the full school year and will be prorated in the event of a short or canceled season due to unforeseen circumstances. Item number 3, to approve and award the position of cafeteria worker at Carnegie Elementary School to Jane Carr, effective October 25th, 2021, and consistent with the terms of the SCA collective bargaining unit agreement. Number 4, to approve and award the position of cafeteria worker and breakfast and classroom packer to Carnegie Elementary School at Carnegie Elementary School to Carlynton Laney, effective October 25th, 2021, and consistent with the terms of the SCA collective bargaining unit agreement. Number 5, to approve Laura Begg and Cynthia Eddy for positions of social studies and open electives after-school tutors, respectively, for members of the senior class who require remediation for credit recovery. The sessions will be held from 2:15 to 4:15 at the per diem rate beginning November 8th through February 28th, and consistent with the terms of the Carlynton Federation of Teachers collective bargaining unit agreement. Social students tutoring will occur on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the electives tutoring will be held on Mondays. Number 6, to approve Cynthia Eddy for the position of homebound instructor for a high school student beginning November 8th, 2021, for 3 months, 5 hours per week, and at an hourly rate of $60 for the terms of the CFT collective bargaining unit agreement. Number 7, to approve Kimberly Sumter for the position of Title I elementary reading specialist and mathematics teacher for Carnegie Elementary and district non-public schools, beginning on or about January 24th, 2022, and for the terms of the CFT collective bargaining unit agreement. Number 8, to approve the leaves of absence of employee number CFT 2122-06 and SCA 2122-07. Number 9, to appoint and approve Rachel Woolery as the confidential secretary to the superintendent and the board secretary at a salary of $42,000 and effective December 1st, 2021 for the terms of the confidential contract. And lastly, number 10, to approve and appoint John McAdoo to the position of acting vice principal at the junior senior high school effective November 18th, 2021 at a daily rate of $325 with benefits as outlined in the agreement. I have a motion for items 2 through 10 under section 6. moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Section 7, student activities, we have one item. I'll entertain a motion to approve the letter of agreement between the district and All-Star Athletics and Gymnastics for high school students to compete in the 2021-22 Whitfield gymnastics season as an independent gymnast. A motion for that item.
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Section 8, old business. Any director of any old business they would like to bring up today? All right, new business. Any director of any new business they would like to bring up? Any new business for anybody? No. Open forum. Any member of the public have any questions or comments during the open forum session?
Speak.
Okay.
I'll be brief. I can talk. I do want to start out with a positive. So my children are at Carlynton Elementary, and when my husband and I moved here like 7 years ago, we fell in love with this community. Mrs. Burleson's doing a fantastic job. At the beginning of the school year, I'd ask my kids, because of everything that was happening, I gave them an option of other schools that they could go to and whatnot. They wanted to stay here. They love being in school. They love their friends. And the positivity initiatives, all three of my kids have been recipients of. I know you had lunch with my youngest. He's a wild little thing, but he loved that. So I think it's fantastic. My kid, there's so much positivity at Carlynton Elementary. So I really want that to be the basis of what I'm going to say next. Before I get into why I'm a disgruntled parent, I'm sure you're probably anticipating this, but I'm sure many of you have heard around 4 o'clock today, Pennsylvania courts granted a lift on the automatic stay of the mask mandate, so therefore the PA mask-wide mandate is gone. The Commonwealth Court has determined that Governor Wolf's attempts to kind of circumvent his executive powers and use the Department of Health to force masks on all children was never legal. So they called it initial ab something. It was never legal to begin with. Yeah, it's a legal term. I looked up and I'm not good at that. Yeah. So I think we see a theme lately of various government entities using loopholes, workarounds to restrict the rights and freedoms of everyday Americans. And there was a lot of impassioned pushback. Otherwise law-abiding, healthy individuals have been put in positions to violate their consciences and bodily autonomy and made to fear human interaction. So, as a parent, I'm vehemently against my children being masked on a daily basis. I genuinely believe it brings harm to them. So, I'm asking for an exit ramp. I'm asking for some criteria for this board to consider in order to allow my children that freedom to be able to breathe fresh air in a normal way. Imagine yourself and your child is in a position that you believe is bringing them harm, and that's where I am. So I'm asking that you kind of not consider healthcare a one-size-fits-all, and as we continue to get rid of these mask mandates as soon as possible. So school choice legislation has been spreading. It is being considered in PA. And so I say all of this and I give my positive feedback because I want to see Carlynton as a school that parents choose and want to be at. And where we see states and schools begin to restrict parents' rights and their abilities, we're seeing a lot of pushback. So I'm hoping that we can be good partners and positive partners in my ability to choose for my children,
while maintaining the excellence that's happening at Carlynton. You replicate what's happening there, I mean, you're going to get a lot of positivity. So there is a lot of double standard. Earlier this month, Randy Weingarten, she is the president of the AFT, a notable figure calling for a universal mask mandate. She was at a conference, a very packed conference. She was seen maskless, and she had said herself, oh, we couldn't hear one another. And so imagine our children. And so there's no punishment for her, but yet if I were to send my children without them, we punish them the harshest. And they are the least vulnerable. They are the most resistant to this COVID. I don't want to feel like I'm the crazy person here. So in most European countries, their health departments have recognized that this is a detriment and have never made school-age children wear masks. And so there are many prominent doctors in the U.S. saying the same thing. And so what I'm asking is that we, again, create that exit plan. We want to see clear criteria that's going to allow our children to get back to that normalcy. I genuinely believe it's a detriment, at least to my kids. And everyone else is welcome to do what they can, continue masking, vaccinate as you will. But I believe differently. And a completely separate note, my son asked me if I could ask for students in grades 2 through 6 to bring back snack time. I asked if they wanted to say anything. I gave them the option to come. They didn't want to. They're very shy. So I can tell him I asked for that and just threw it out there. He's a hungry, growing one. I guess snacks are on his mind. So thank you for your consideration. I'm hoping to see some movement on this very soon.
Thank you for your comments. Can I just confirm your name for the record?
Oh, Stephanie Mangan.
Stephanie, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And can I ask our solicitor to give the public and the board a quick reminder? I know the 4 o'clock announcement that you referenced is very new. I didn't hear about it. Can you give a brief summary from what you know?
From what I know, it changed on my drive over to the meeting tonight. So
yeah,
I did
read.
I read a few things, but haven't read the actual order itself. So I will preface my comments with that. But my understanding is that the Commonwealth Court did lift the stay on the mask mandate, and I assume there's going to be a petition or some sort of application to the Supreme Court to ask that the stay be put back, but I don't know that for sure. What I do understand is that lift does not go into effect until December 4th.
That's correct. It makes no sense considering the Commonwealth Court decided this was never legal to begin with, so I think that's interesting.
And so we're just digesting.
I'm just saying what I read.
Yeah. I saw the same thing. I'm referring back to the original, when they kind of dismissed that. The original paperwork had said it was never legal to begin with, and Alice B didn't have the authority.
There apparently is some rule where they have to publish it, register this new order. That's my understanding from what I read so far. So,
sure.
Stay tuned. This is one court. There is still the appeal on the merits of the whole thing. That's not just the stay, but on the merits of the whole reversal of the mask mandate. That's still sitting before the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But as we sit here today, the first school day would be December 6th, where that reversal would go into effect, and this board would then it then goes back to local control. So there is a health and safety plan that's in effect at this time, and whatever that says will stand unless and until this board amends that plan.
Right, and so that's my plea. And I do know there are other school districts out there that have decided that to revert back to mask optional. And I view that as I respect a parent's choice to do what's best health-wise for their children. That's what I'm respectfully asking, that we kind of adopt that, we have an exit strategy, and that, it's hard asking my kids to wait while grown-ups fight in court as to what they're doing to my kids is legal or not, or whether it's right or not. Everything's very, very black and white, or gray, to say. The science is very sketchy at best, so it's bothersome to me. I don't think it's healthy or right. I think there's a lot of people that agree with me, and so
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have open forum? Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Heidi
Hi,
McCann.
Heidi.
Do you need my address too, for the record?
If you're, yeah, please.
It's 6 Biggert Manor. My kids are in first grade now. So the pandemic started in 2020 and they were supposed to go to kindergarten, but I didn't want to expose them to a kindergarten like that. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to share toys and not see masks and all that stuff. And just to kind of echo what Stephanie was saying, I think that parents should have a choice. I don't know who's aware, but in 45 out of 50 states in the United States, you have a choice whether or not to vaccinate your child and send them to public school, PA being one of them. So your child or any child can go to school without any vaccines, and we never had to wear masks before that. There was never a safety concern before that. Now that we have options to vaccinate the age group for our children, 5 to 11, I just really think we should have the choice whether or not we send them to school in masks. And if parents feel comfortable with that, that's fine, but I just don't think it's an across-the-board thing. It has to be a decision family to family, just like vaccinating is a decision family to family. And that's just, I pretty much believe in everything, and I'm just here to support her and any other parents with their rights. So.
Thank you for sharing. Any other audience members want to share a question or comment in open forum? If not, any board members have any items for open forum?
Mr. President, I will be resigning after tonight's meeting. It's been an honor to serve our district staff going forward.
Understood. Well, maybe reluctantly, but is there an effective date for your potential resignation?
December 4th.
December 6th will be the last day of the reorganization. Would you want to do the 6th, since that would be the end of the term?
That's fine.
Oh, the 6th, okay.
So for the public, Director Tesoro is announcing her resignation. She stepped in a couple months ago to help serve for a board member had to move out of the district, so she's filled in for a couple of months, and she's now hopefully reluctantly offering her resignation as of December 6th. So
It's been an honor, and it's a good, you're a good board. I've served 20 years prior. It's been an honor to got to know the superintendent. The lucky district.
thank you. Thank you. You've served us many times for many years, so thank you very much for your service. Thank you. So I guess we have to reluctantly move to accept your, now can we resist your resignation?
That's unconstitutional.
Okay. Does any board member want to put out a motion to reluctantly accept Director Tesaro's resignation effective December 6th?
I think first we have to, with the new sunshine, you have to
I think you're
make a
fine.
motion to add an agenda item.
No, it falls under an exception that you don't
Okay.
need to do that, and I'll explain that when you know, once you make the motion, I think then we have to allow some public comment, and I'll explain that, why it's an exception. So we need the motion in a second.
Okay. So is any director willing to make a motion to accept Director
We're just
Tesaro?
not going to speak up back here. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. All those in favor?
No,
of
no,
the-
no, I think we need to have,
Oh,
you might want to have discussion, but I also, because this is an exception to the new Act 65, the Sunshine Law, since this just came up after the agenda was published, it is an exception that that you can vote on this tonight without having to do any other vote. It's one of the exceptions. It says to address a matter of business that only arose or was brought to the district's attention after the agenda was posted, which is exactly this circumstance. My only comment to that is because the public has not yet had an opportunity to comment on this, I would open it up for the public to make any comment on it.
I don't know that anyone will have comment, but, okay, Lisa, do you have any comment?
So if you're doing this now, after we've already had the vote for someone new, are you just going to appoint someone into her spot?
Under the law, the school board would have 30 days to fill it. This would be a vacancy effective December 6th. But any time between now and 30 days from that date, the board has it's called the 30-day rule. The board has the authority to appoint someone to fill that position. If they don't...
With that on, I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
That just kicked on and I can't hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the school code has what's called a 30-day rule.
Right.
And so the school board has 30 days to make an appointment. And if they don't, then it would go, then if there are 10 residents that would file a petition to the Court of Common Pleas, then a judge would make that appointment. But it's likely that at some point between now and 30 days, the school board will make an appointment of whoever they wish to fill that position. But it is under the school code, it is their authority to make.
Okay, that's all I was asking. I just wanted to know what the process was.
Absolutely, thank you.
Any other questions for Director Tesoro or for the board on us reluctantly accepting her resignation? If not, any questions from the board before we vote on her resignation? Okay. Tony, you think we're clear?
You are ready to go.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting Director Tesoro's resignation effective December 6, 2021, vote aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. And reluctantly, we approve the motion, and we thank you for your continued service. Good luck. That's really great. Any other open forum questions or items from the board? If not, we'll turn to a motion to adjourn. Anyone? Thank you, Director Zaleski. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.